go back, like you had a tough time on the show, and I want you to tell the story of how that happened and why it happened and what exactly went down.
You really want me to tell that story?
Oh, hell yeah. Why would you not? A lot of people don't know it. And it explained a lot because, you know, like you said, when you came off the show, it wasn't a great experience. A lot of people thought you were a jackass, and I'd like for people to see why.
Okay. Well, so earlier when you asked if Chris made a call, and I said that's a Chris question because I don't know how Chris wanted to answer that.
Whatever.
So yes, Chris made a call to Ken Pavia. Ken Pavia was Chris's manager. Well, Pav,
I'm sorry.
oops.
That's it. He owes you one apology. Go ahead.
Right. So Pav ended
The
up
Pav.
the Pav. So the Pav ended up calling the UFC, telling them that he knew they were doing a heavyweight version of Ultimate Fighter, and that Chris had a dude, so he had a dude that he would put his name on, and so they were interested in it. And then are they arguing downstairs too loud? Are you okay?
Go ahead, bro.
Fine.
It's all right. We've dealt with much worse. I got a train that runs through there.
Murphy.
15 minutes.
So the Pav calls me up the night before we leave for the Ultimate Fighter, and he says, "Hey, listen, I got a dude out in Hawaii. He's going on the Ultimate Fighter also. He wants to set up an alliance with you, and I think it's a really good idea. You should give him a call." Now, Chris can validate every single thing I'm saying. So Chris, give it a shake of the head or a nod of the head if I do anything inappropriate.
Okay.
So Pav calls me up, says, "I got a dude named Scott Junk. He wants you to call him. He's out in Hawaii. So give him a call." We reported literally the next day, like tomorrow we report. So I call this, I'm like, well, I called Chris up and I'm like, "Listen, dude, I don't know anybody in MMA. I don't know anything about MMA. I don't have any friends in MMA." And I was like, "But what do you think about this option?" He's like, "Listen, if you can get a friend there and kind of help you learn the ropes and kind of get you through some stuff, I don't think it's a bad bet." So I'm like, "All right, well, you know what? Cool." So I call up Junk, and Junk is at the mall with his wife and his daughter. And he's like, "Listen, what I want to do," he's like, "I don't know you, but Pav says you're cool. So what I want to do is if we are on separate teams, we share information, we get each other through the first round. And then if we get into the second round, we fight each other, all bets are off. I'm going to try to kill you." And I was like, well, since I don't know anybody, it doesn't hurt me to have a friend. So sure, why not? And I had been training, Chris. We'd been training for maybe 6 months.
Probably not even that long.
And it's the only other heavyweight there is Jake O'Brien that you're training with. Am I correct?
That's it. Yeah.
So you've been training with one heavyweight for 6 months.
We had Ed Jones. We had a training partner, but he wasn't like a UFC guy.
Was Mike Camp still there with you guys rolling at this time? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
You never met him.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I think I know him. But then again, I don't know anybody. So like, well, anyways, so Chris, say something.
No, I was gonna say. So by the way, at this point, Matt doesn't know anybody. They were on the show and they were saying something about Randy Couture and everything, and he'd be like, "Who are you talking about?" And they thought it was joking. He didn't know any fighters. He didn't know anybody.
I didn't know literally.
I
didn't know nobody. So we go. So I'm like, well, explain to me what you mean by we get each other through the first round. He's like, "Listen, we share information about who we're fighting, what they're practicing, what the style is, how to beat them, and then we go from there." Like, but second round, everything's off. Because the reason was, which I found out later, is back in the day, if you got through the first round, then you got invited to the finale, no matter what. So he wanted to get through the first round because he knew if he got past the first round, then we're in the finale together, or we're going to be in the finale. Even if you lost in the quarterfinals, it didn't matter. Okay, cool, man. So I said yes. So we go on the Ultimate Fighter. We're on the show for it's a 6-week-long taping. And you're totally sequestered from everybody in any which way, any form, whatever else. So we go on the show. We're on there for 2 weeks. And then by that time, Rashad and Rampage had already picked the teams. I was on Rashad's team. I wanted to be on Rashad's team because I knew that Rashad was a wrestler. I knew nothing about Rampage, but I knew that Rashad was a wrestler, so I figured he could help me out. Rashad picks me whenever he picked me. And then I was supposed to fight Marcus Jones. And Junk was going to fight his roommate, Justin Wren. And him and Justin knew each other. Scott Junk and Justin knew each other. And then that affected Justin in some type of way. He was upset about it. Well, then I went over that night and I actually had a great plan. I ended up, I was drinking cereal, like milk out of a bowl. And because like we always wore like this octagon necklace and that had a microphone attached to it. So I drank this bowl and I was telling Junk that he was fighting or who we each were fighting into the bowl so that my voice would reverberate and you wouldn't be able to catch it on the microphone because it wasn't clean audio. Because I knew they were going to catch it and utilize it somehow. So I manipulated my voice. They couldn't and go to bed. And I go to bed that night and I chose to sleep in a closet because I didn't want to have a roommate and I didn't want to have other people around me all the time. So I slept in a closet in a single bed and it was fine. It was great for me because the only time that people ever went in there was a morning or at nighttime. That was it, or right before practice. So it was a really good space for me to sleep in and kind of chill and have my own autonomy, if you will. So then I go to sleep, I wake up, I come upstairs and I'm getting ready to get breakfast. My team, Rashad's team, practiced first in the morning. So I go there and James McSweeney is like, I toast a bagel. And he's like, hey man, did you want some peanut butter for that bagel? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. There was some peanut butter out on the table. I was like, yeah, sure, man. He's like, why don't you go ahead and take that knife out of Justin's back and go ahead and put it on that bagel? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, everybody fucking knows you're scared to fight, what's his name? Marcus Jones. So you fucking snitched on him. They're trying to throw everything under the bus. And at the time, there was a $5 million conferring with other contestants policy. So I couldn't say, be like, oh, well, this is what happened and blah, blah, blah. So I just had to eat it and be like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I snitched. That's what happened, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't be like, listen, this whole thing was set up from the time we even walked in the door. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was introduced by what went on. So all I did was hold up my end of the bargain that this motherfucker brought up to me.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Now, Junk told everybody what Matt said.
No.
He told everybody.
No. Chris, this is what happens. This is what's going on. So what you're saying is the UFC should sue Ken Pavia for setting this up.
What I'm saying is money is not involved. That's what I'm saying.
But the Junk did go and tell all his teammates. I found all this out from Matt Mitrione. He said, "You're fighting this guy. He spilled the beans and told his team that not only that he knew that, but Matt was the one who did it. So he should have pulled the knife out of Matt's back." Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.